Hey there you guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why ingredients matter and why this should be the first part of the nutrition facts label that you look at for the food that you're thinking of eating. If you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. My name is Marissa. I'm a pharmacist and holistic health coach, and here on my channel, I share videos on how to live a holistic lifestyle so that you can live a more balanced and healthier life. So definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. So I am a huge fan of eating real whole foods, but that being said, it is unrealistic in our society these days to think that processed foods aren't going to make their way into our daily diet at some point or even at multiple points throughout the day. So because of that, let's talk about them. Processed foods range from being mildly processed to highly processed. So for example, buying already chopped fruit or pre-washed lettuce from the grocery store are considered mildly processed foods, and candy, chips, and fast food are considered highly processed foods. And when we are looking to improve and maintain our health and wellness, it is really important to know what ingredients were used in order to create a particular food product. And the reason for that is because the unhealthy ingredients that I'm about to talk about, while they are present to help increase shelf life, meaning how long the food will last, and also help to make sure that the food looks good and tastes good, they unfortunately also influence how much inflammation is within the body. They influence the health of the gut microbiome, how well we're able to maintain a healthy body weight, and they also contribute to whether or not we develop a chronic disease such as hypertension or high blood pressure, diabetes, acid reflux, leaky gut, or as the medical community likes to refer to it as increased intestinal permeability, if you've ever heard it being referred to as that, migraines, ADHD, high cholesterol and triglyceride levels, even cancer, and so on and so forth. So pretty important if you ask me, and by looking at the ingredient list, you can make a more informed decision as to whether or not you would like to buy and consume a particular food product. Now, unless you know what you're looking for, reading an ingredient list can be kind of confusing. So here are a couple of helpful tips. First, look at the ingredient list and see how long it is. If it is ridiculously long, then odds are it probably has some health questionable ingredients in it. So a shorter ingredient list is usually better. Next, read through the ingredient list. The first ingredient listed is the ingredient that is present in the highest amount, and the last ingredient that is listed is present in the lowest amount within that particular food product. So when you see sugar listed as the number one ingredient, then you now know that that particular product is mostly made of sugar versus if you see sugar listed as like the fourth or the fifth ingredient. And another tip is when you're reading the ingredient list, can you recognize and pronounce and understand the words that are listed? If you see a lot of chemical terminology and names, then that's a huge red flag in my book. And you may want to consider finding an alternative product made with simpler ingredients. So let's talk about some of the most common ingredients to be on the lookout for. The first one I'm going to talk about are the highly processed oils. So for example, this is going to be hydrogenated oils, palm oil, vegetable oils like corn, soybean, cottonseed, sunflower, canola, and safflower oils. Now the problem with these oils is that they are rich in omega-6 fatty acids, and those particular fats can promote inflammation within the body. Now, a diet high in these fats has been linked to the following health conditions: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, pre-diabetes, irritable bowel syndrome, macular degeneration, rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, cancer, psychiatric disorders, and autoimmune disease. Now, if you can, and if it's available, try to choose products that contain fat such as coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, and or grass-fed butter. These fats are high in omega-3 fatty acids, and when eaten in moderation, they can help protect your heart and your brain, and they can also help reduce inflammation within the body. The next ingredient to be on the lookout for is sugar. Companies have gotten very smart and also very sneaky when it comes to adding sugar into their food products. Sugar may be listed several times throughout an ingredient list, but is hidden because it's called by different names. So some examples of sugar terms to be on the lookout for include high fructose corn syrup solids, barley malt, maltodextrin, and then anything ending in OSE like sucrose or dextrose. Eating a diet that is high in sugar messes with our hunger hormones like leptin, which is a hormone that signals your body when to eat and when to stop eating. Now, consuming a high sugar diet has been linked to the following health conditions: obesity, type 2 diabetes, also known as insulin resistance, heart disease, depression, dementia, liver disease, and certain types of cancer. So instead, try to look for food products that contain either no added sweeteners at all, and then if you need to or want to, then you can just add it in yourself. And this is great because then you have complete control over what and how much you add. Or you can look for products that contain a natural sweetener like honey, maple syrup, coconut sugar. These have other nutrients besides sweetening your food. So like local honey can help with like allergies, like seasonal allergic rhinitis. The real maple syrup, okay, it can have like zinc and manganese, so it has like trace minerals. They can have antioxidants. So there are other nutrients associated with those sweeteners besides just sweetening your food. But if you can't find those, then try to pick a product that has just regular cane sugar over something like the high fructose corn syrup. The next group of ingredients to be on the lookout for are the artificial sweeteners. These are problematic because they can cause headaches, migraines, mood swings, weight gain. They can contribute to cardiovascular disease. They can cause gastrointestinal inflammation, and they can even cause you to become addicted to foods that taste overly sweet. Examples of terms that you may see include aspartame, acesulfame potassium, saccharin, sorbitol, sucralose, and xylitol. Up next are the artificial colors and dyes. These are problematic because they have been linked to the development of cancers, behavioral changes like irritability and depression, hyperactivity, including ADHD, and hypersensitivity reactions like hives and asthma. These are pretty easy to spot in the ingredient list because you'll see the actual color name listed. So blue number 1, blue number 2, red number 3, red number 40, yellow number 5, and yellow number 6. The next one to be on the lookout for is MSG, also known as monosodium glutamate. MSG has been linked to the development of obesity, metabolic disorders, free radical formation, which can cause damage all throughout the body, neurotoxic effects like headaches, and has shown in animal studies to have harmful effects on the reproductive organs. So, not good. And the last group of ingredients that I'm going to mention in this video are the preservatives, which are going to be really hard to avoid because they are in pretty much the majority of processed foods, especially highly processed foods. So it really comes down to whether or not your diet consists of mainly like real whole foods with like just a little bit of processed foods, or are you eating a diet that is really high in processed foods. Consuming a diet that is high in highly processed foods may increase your odds of developing obesity, cardiovascular disease, and or even cancer. They may even negatively affect the gut microbiome and can potentially lead to gastrointestinal diseases like inflammatory bowel disease. And they can also cause headaches as well. There is a long list of ingredients out there that can act as a preservative, but the ones that I wanted to highlight in this video to really be on the lookout for are nitrates, nitrites, sulfites, and BHA, which stands for butylated hydroxyanisole. And so some last tips that I will leave you all with is number 1, just because a food product says or indicates that it is healthy doesn't mean that it really is. I've seen a lot of organic, healthy snacks out there that contain several of the ingredients that I mentioned in this video. So always check the ingredient list. Tip number 2 is that very few processed foods have a perfect ingredient list. So if you are going to consume processed foods, then try to choose one that is at least on the healthier side. Tip number 3 is to consume processed foods within moderation and instead opt for real whole foods the majority of the time. I had someone once tell me that they were just going to eat like a little bit of a processed food product that contained hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, additional sugars, preservatives, etc., and that it wouldn't be that bad for them because they were just going to eat a little bit. Now, the 2 problems that I want to bring up with this kind of mindset is 1, those foods tend to be very addictive. They're created to be that way. The companies want you to keep coming back for more, right? Because then it means more money for them. So they tend to be addictive. So it is hard to like just eat like a tiny little bit. I mean, who eats 3 cookies or half a cup of ice cream, right? So it's very hard to control yourself to just eat like a little bit of it. And the second problem that I want you to think about is that these unhealthy ingredients can be found in almost all highly processed food products. So even if there's just a little bit here, but like you're eating all these other products over here, they most likely have the same ingredients in there. So if you're eating a highly processed foods diet, odds are you're eating these same ingredients over and over and over again all throughout the day, each day of the week, and they do add up. And that is really where you're going to be seeing an increase in your risk of developing a chronic health condition like obesity, like type 2 diabetes, like migraines, like heart disease, and so on and so forth. So instead, focus on eating a real whole foods diet, and that will just naturally crowd out how many processed foods you eat in a day. The next tip is don't feel bad if you feel overwhelmed or confused by all of this. Food companies spend a lot of time and money on advertising to trick us into thinking that their particular food product is going to make us happier, thinner, more energized, and or potentially healthier. And there's a lot of science that goes into all of this. Like literally there are food scientists out there whose job is to help a company scientifically create a food product that looks great, increases its shelf life, meaning that it will last way longer than it was ever meant to. Trick our hunger hormones, meaning that, we just keep eating and eating the product without actually getting full off of it. And that it tastes really good, so good in fact that it keeps us coming back for more, which means more sales for them and more potential health problems for all of us. And if you are somebody who eats a lot of processed foods on a regular basis, then just give yourself some time to retrain your taste buds. The more that you eat real food and retrain your taste buds, the less you'll crave processed foods. And also, when you eat them again, you'll instantly notice that the majority of them, especially the least healthy ones, have a fake taste. They're overly sweet, very salty, and you just don't feel good after you eat them. Maybe you feel some brain fog, you feel bloated, maybe irritable. And because of that, you'll see that you'll start to prefer the taste of real whole foods and see yourself reach for those the majority of the time. All right, you guys, so that is all I have for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned why ingredients in your food matter and feel much more confident when looking at ingredient lists, and use this video to help you as you are looking to improve and also maintain your health and your wellness. If you like this video, then be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. Comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can even follow me on Instagram. It's just at Simply Health with Marissa. And with that, thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.